You're lying on the ground in the dark, no walls around you, no locked door, no alarm system, just open air, dying firelight, and the sound of something moving in the grass nearby. You don't get up. You don't panic. You go back to sleep. For most of human history, this wasn't a hypothetical. This was every single night, for roughly 300,000 years. So how did your ancestors survive the dark? Surrounded by lions, hyenas, and leopards, with nothing but skin and a small fire between them and teeth that could kill in seconds? The honest answer is strange. Predators didn't ignore sleeping humans because humans were untouchable. They avoided them because humans built a system that made attacking not worth the risk. And that system still shapes how you sleep today. Start with the predators themselves. The biologist Craig Packer spent decades studying lion attacks in Tanzania, including in the Selous region, where man-eating lions became a serious problem in the 20th century. His research found a clear pattern. Lions overwhelmingly targeted people who were sleeping outdoors, alone, without a fire, and without solid walls around them. People sleeping inside a fenced enclosure or near a burning fire were attacked far less often. That single detail rewrites the question. It was never about humans being too tough to eat. It was about humans removing the conditions a predator needs to attack safely. Fire is the first piece of that system. The anthropologist Richard Wrangham, in his research on the role of cooking and fire in human evolution, argued that controlled fire didn't just change what humans ate. It changed where humans could safely sleep. Before fire, our ancestors likely slept in trees, the way chimpanzees still do, retreating upward each night out of necessity. Once fire became reliable, sleeping on the ground became survivable. A flickering flame doesn't just provide light, it disrupts a predator's night vision and signals, unmistakably, that this group is alert and occupied. Most nocturnal hunters are wired to avoid that signal. Easy prey is supposed to be undefended. Fire breaks that assumption immediately. But fire alone wasn't the full system. The second piece was social, not physical. The anthropologist Polly Weissner studied the Juhwanzi San people of the Kalahari and recorded something revealing about what happens after dark. During the day, conversations were practical. Who found food? Who needs help? Daily logistics. But at night, around the fire, the conversation changed entirely. People shifted to storytelling, myths, histories, social rules. Weissner published this pattern in a 2014 study, showing that firelight didn't just keep people warm. It created a nightly ritual that bonded the group together, reinforced trust, and kept people gathered in one place rather than scattered and alone. A scattered human is vulnerable. A bonded group, clustered tightly around a shared fire, is not. Predators are opportunists. They look for separation, silence, stillness, and an easy angle of approach. A cluster of people, murmuring, shifting, occasionally tending the flame, gives none of that. Now picture the scene directly. It's just after dusk on the savannah. The orange sky has faded to a deep blue, and a small fire crackles in the center of camp. Children are pulled in close to the adults, not at the edges. Someone is still talking, low and steady, finishing a story from earlier in the day. One or two adults stay half alert, not fully asleep, listening for changes in the usual night sounds. Insects, wind, the normal rustle of grass. A predator moving through that grass changes the rhythm of those sounds, and a half-alert ear catches it before it becomes a threat. This is where the next piece of evidence gets surprising. You might assume your ancestors slept deeply and peacefully, free from modern stress, getting more rest than you do. The sleep researchers Jerome Siegel and David Sampson tested that assumption directly by studying the Hadza people of Tanzania, a population that still lives by hunting and gathering. Using small wearable sensors, they tracked actual sleep patterns over real nights in the field. The results, published in 2015, found that the Hadza did not sleep longer than people in industrialized countries. They slept in similar total amounts, often with multiple brief wakings throughout the night. In other words, ancestral sleep wasn't a deep, uninterrupted retreat from the world. It was lighter, more fragmented, more watchful. That fragmentation wasn't a flaw, it was the design. A sleeping human who wakes easily at unusual sounds, surrounded by others doing the same, is a far harder target than one locked in deep, unbroken unconsciousness. So the full system looked like this. Fire to disrupt a predator's approach. Group sleeping to remove isolation. Light, watchful sleep to catch warning signs early. None of these pieces worked alone. Together, they made attacking a human group costly enough that most predators simply chose not to try. Here's the counterintuitive twist, though. This system didn't just protect your ancestors from lions. It rewired how the human brain and body relate to nighttime safety, in ways you still carry around right now. Think about how unsettled you feel falling asleep in total darkness, with no light at all, in an unfamiliar place. Think about why a child instinctively wants a nightlight or wants a parent in the room. Not because anything is actually hunting them, but because the ancient circuitry underneath that fear doesn't know the difference. Locked doors and deadbolts are modern. Security systems are modern. But the underlying anxiety they're designed to soothe is not modern at all. It's the same anxiety that once kept a half-asleep ancestor's ear tuned to the grass outside camp. Even something as simple as feeling calmer around a campfire today, on a camping trip with friends, taps into the same circuitry. You're not thinking about lions, but some old part of your brain registers light, warmth, and nearby people as the conditions for being safe enough to rest. That feeling is hundreds of thousands of years old, and it has nothing to do with logic. It's inherited. This also reframes what safety actually meant for most of human history. It wasn't walls, it wasn't weapons mostly. It was visibility, fire, and proximity to other people who were also paying attention. Survival wasn't a solitary achievement. It was a group behavior, repeated every single night, for hundreds of thousands of nights in a row, until it became instinct. So the next time you check that your door is locked before bed, or feel a flicker of unease falling asleep somewhere unfamiliar and dark, you're not being irrational. You're running a very old piece of software, one that was written by fire, by firelight conversation, and by generations of half-alert ears listening to the grass. You're lying in the dark again. No walls maybe if you're camping, no locked door. But there's a fire nearby and there are people close enough to hear. That, it turns out, was always enough.